Howdy, pilgrims. Welcome back to Venture Pill.
Leading things off, we will break down WILDE Brands, the makers of tasty, high-protein crisps made from chicken breasts and egg whites, hot off $20 million in funding led by Carp Riley, with participation from Jack Harlow and Machine Gun Kelly.
Wow, some incredible investors there. After that, you'll hear about Backflip, which just raised a $15 million Series A led by First Mark Capital to help real estate investors flip houses with more ease.
And to wrap it all up, we have Beehiv, the innovative newsletter platform started by 3 former Morning Brew employees, which just announced a $34 million Series B led by NEA.
Another fantastic bunch of startups making waves for this week's dose. Let's go ahead and do this thing, partner.
Alrighty.
You see here, kid, you gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump.
This is Venture Pill, your weekly dose of startups and venture capital. We break down recent startups in the news and interview founders and investors to help you stay informed in the evolving world of venture.
First up, we've got WILDE Brands, which just raised $20 million in funding led by Carp Riley. The round also included participation from VC industry veterans Jack Harlow and Machine Gun Kelly.
Add them to the Venture Pill cap table. Those are some new ones. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the company was founded in Nashville way back in 2015 and creates delicious, high-protein crisps made from chicken breast, egg whites, and bone broth. The story goes that the founder, Jason, was going through a little bit of a rough patch and wanted to see if he could prove that comfort food doesn't necessarily need to be junk food. An important distinction there. And with that, he had the idea to see if he could replace the potato with chicken, an idea we've all had, no doubt.
Yeah.
To
It's
make
been
it,
racking my brain for ages.
he just barely beat us to the punch.
Yeah.
If he could replace potato with chicken to make a delectable, salty snack that isn't terrible for you.
Pretty cool. Yeah, so there are 7 flavors available today. We'll list them out here and get those mouths watering.
And salivating.
We've got buffalo, Himalayan pink salt, sea salt and vinegar, chicken and waffles, Nashville hot, got to throw that in there, the Nashville company, barbecue, and spicy queso.
Which flavor are you picking just from the name there?
I mean, chicken and waffles, for me, I mean, I have a dairy allergy. I can't actually ever eat chicken and waffles. Never had it before, but these are all dairy-free. That leads us into the nutrition. You've got, I think they're all dairy-free, gluten-free, and the key component here is high protein. So 10 grams of protein per serving with only 6 grams of carbs. And compare that to a regular potato chip, which may typically have 2 grams of protein, 14 grams of carbs. So
Right,
flipping that on its head.
Yeah, and not to mention the processed junk that typically goes into potato chips and other junk food, calories, trans fats, just a lot of stuff that, while it tastes good, is certainly not good for you. And to circle back, my choice of flavor is sea salt and vinegar. All of my close friends would know that. That's my thing. But anyway, yeah, as you mentioned, flipping the junk food model on its head here, actually making healthy comfort food, kind of like Goodles or Magic Spoon reminds us of those.
Oh, yeah.
Taking old favorites and making them nutritious and delicious. And so you mentioned the macros for the chips. The chips are available online on their website or in your local retail stores like Walmart, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Target, and Costco, everyone's favorite. That said, their biggest channel is actually online through Amazon.
Yeah, so wherever you get your chips,
Really?
wherever you get your podcasts. A little bit more on the pricing. So pretty expensive, I would say. 12 4-ounce bags are available on their website for $99.
That's expensive.
It is. I mean, I was surprised by that. I was having to do a little bit of mental maths.
Yeah, what if you apply this 10% discount? Like,
yeah, true.
yeah, it kind of, I mean, separately, this reminds me a little bit of Oishi, where you're paying a significant premium compared to the average price of strawberries. For those who don't remember, Oishi was the Japanese vertical strawberry farming startup, but maybe justifiable by the fact that they're healthier for you and you know, it's one of those things that if you're putting your health first, you can maybe, it helps it make sense and justify the heavy price tag.
Yeah. I mean, we've made that call out plenty of times that investing in your health is priceless,
Right.
To an extent. So, I mean, but they have had success to back up that pricing. The business has grown to 2x each of the last 3 years. And they plan to use this funding to continue to drive that retail expansion, getting it on the shelves where folks are walking by in all those stores we listed and improving that, fueling marketing initiatives, getting the name out there a little bit more, and then lastly, piloting new and exciting product innovation. We're excited about that.
Yes, definitely. And hopefully over time, they're able to drive the cost down similar to how Oishi did. They used to be, you know, $100, let's say, for a pallet of strawberries. Now it's 50 or whatever. Like just as you continue to scale and refine your process, you can bring prices down, hopefully. It's also important to note for the round that while it did include some music stars, Jack Harlow, Machine Gun Kelly, it also included a strategic investment from Koya, the plant-based protein drink you've probably seen on some shelves in your local convenience stores. And so it remains to be seen how the company will expand their product line or perhaps join forces with other types of products, but nonetheless, a cool spin on your traditional junk food here. Comfort food doesn't have to be junk food. I like that. I think it's an important distinction.
We can all get behind that. It's pretty cool. You know, I think it goes along with the story of maybe was it Oats Overnight? That was chicken shit to chicken.
Or no, I think that was Emmy. Yeah. Chicken shit to chicken salad.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like you should check out the website. He went through many iterations and just goes to show, like, if you think of an idea, you can do it. It just takes hard work and iterations and customer feedback and figuring it out. And now he has a business that has raised this money and is in all those stores. That is fantastic. Like, congrats to him. We haven't tried it yet, but
I'd like to.
You know, we're available here to get some product shipped to us. We'll do a review. I know we're working on that for Belgian boys who sent us some product. If you didn't listen to that one, a lot of other episode call-outs. We love our food companies on the pill here.
We do.
Yeah, your pill can't be taken without a healthy serving of food in the stomach.
Don't take it on an empty stomach.
Yeah. Belgian Boys was episode 108 where we actually interviewed Anouk Gottlieb. And she sent us some products where we did a little review video that is in the works. So, you know, we're always open and hungry to try these. And if it's all dairy-free, I will try it all. High protein, dairy-free, that is me.
Yeah, our mailboxes are always open. Separately, as just a proud podfather moment here, love how many different companies we were able to reference in this breakdown. Belgian Boys, Magic Spoon, Emmy. It's just awesome. We love covering these different food and drink companies, but I'm just gushing a little bit at how we were able to reference all these different companies that it reminds us of. It's pretty cool.
A little pat on the back for ourselves. But yeah, I mean, with 7, pretty simple business today with 7 SKUs. We'll see what they may expand into, continue to refine, get outside of crisps or chips.
Yeah, down with big potato, I guess.
Yeah, down with big potato. I can get behind that.
Yeah, up with big chicken.
Up with big chicken or?
Up with chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this will be exciting to see what other flavors they might come out with as well. We'll be keeping tabs on these crisps. Moving forward, second company of this week's dose, we have Backflip, which just raised a $15 million Series A to help real estate investors flip houses. The round was led by First Mark Capital, a firm that invested early in companies like Airbnb, Shopify, and Pinterest, some resounding successes within the venture capital ecosystem. And they were joined by existing investors like Vertical Venture Partners, Live Oak Venture Partners, Revel Partners, and more.
Yeah, Live Oak out of Austin here. Good to see them in the mix. So no matter how fun and easy HGTV makes it seem, flipping houses is a complicated process. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I hope my parents hear this one because I know that they're big HGTV watchers.
Yeah. But Backflip wants to make the process less complicated by offering a different way to borrow money to fund such a purchase.
And so, founded in late 2020, the startup offers a service to real estate investors for securing short-term loans. And beyond helping users secure financing, the startup's tech also helps investors source, track, comp, and evaluate potential investments. Easiest to think of it as a cross between Zillow and Shopify for interested real estate investors.
Never thought we'd get that sort of cross, but you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. That's the beauty of VC, right?
Yeah, so a little bit more of how it works. Most of Backflip's loans are for 12 months, called a bridge loan in the industry lingo, but are provided at a 2 to 4% higher interest rate than a typical residential loan. So investors can either sell the property and pay back Backflip or refinance and move into a longer-term loan through another lender. And according to their CEO and co-founder, Josh Ernst, he said, quote, "Our interest rates are higher than a retail bank, so our customer pays more for our loans than a bank. But what we're doing is giving them money, underwriting the asset, underwriting the business plan, and underwriting the person." So that comes with the cost.
Exactly. And helping people flip houses more easily through their platform. So as you mentioned, 2 to 4% premium on these loans. The conventional loan process is cheaper, but it's also certainly slower. Additionally, with Backflip, customers don't need a W-2 to qualify for a loan. And also, the company bundles in the rehab and construction loan, so it's overall easier and faster for an investor to move quickly through all these transactions. The alternative being taking on several different kinds of loans, and that gets so complicated, and you have to be a sophisticated investor and know what you're going through in terms of debt. So this helps take away some of the sophistication that comes into play with flipping homes and just generally investing in real estate. And lastly, the startup provides capital for home renovation and gives credit for post-repair valuation as well.
Yeah, and the market here is huge. Roughly 200 to 250,000 homes are flipped each year, with the total sales value of annual home flips being $500 to $650 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, so a big market. And that said, profit margins have been declining in recent years due to economic headwinds, which is something Backflip is working to address.
Yeah, I think it's just, talking about the market and the recent headwinds, I think people see things like HGTV, all this flipping, and they do make it look very easy and fun and straightforward. So people want to get in on the fun, but the more players that get involved, as well as just general recent economic things that have been going on, inflation, interest rates, things like that, the margins have become smaller. And that is, as you said, exactly what Backflip was created to help address. And so getting into how Backflip actually makes money, so they don't currently charge subscription fees, which is pretty cool because, as they said, there's different tools that they provide, like helping investors source, track, comp, and evaluate potential investments. Pretty cool platform. Instead, the business model is to serve as a marketplace for the financial products. So they ultimately really make money via take rate on the loans and the lending origination business, which it operates by partnering with capital providers. So I think of it as they get super sophisticated within the financial products and loans that investors need to make it easier for those flippers, home flippers, to not have to be that sophisticated. And that's the premium you pay.
Yeah. And entering the market at a time when interest rates began to surge was certainly challenging. Yet they were able to tough it out and achieve great early traction. Revenue grew nearly 5x in 2023. Annualized revenues reached $10 million, and users analyze an average of $5 billion in properties each month on the platform.
All right, so that's pretty heavy traffic on the website. Additionally, the startup has funded more than 900 homes since its mid-2022 launch. And lastly, users have realized an average gross profit of $82,000 per property on the platform and typically repay their loans in 6 months. Again, these are flips, so you buy an older, maybe more rundown house, you put in some money for renovation, you also pour in some sweat equity most likely, and you're trying to flip that as soon as possible. So these are relatively shorter term loans.
Yeah, and I think, upon analyzing the distinction between what they're providing and what problem they're looking to address, which is decreasing profit margins, it was like a little bit counterintuitive to me at first, but I think it really comes down to the time and the ease, right? People will be willing to pay that premium, the 2 to 4% more. Since it is such short term, that doesn't end up being so much, and it takes away a lot of the headache and the time spent that allows them to flip things more quickly. So it makes a lot of sense now that we've gotten through the breakdown.
Exactly. That's why you have to stick with us through the end of the breakdown, the end of the episode to really get the full picture.
Yeah. And wrapping us up for this week's dose, our third and final company is Beehiv, which just announced a $34 million Series B led by NEA. The round also included participation from Sapphire Sport and previous investor Lightspeed Venture Partners. A couple of big names there.
Mm-hmm.
And Beehiv is familiar to us, but for those that don't know, it is a newsletter platform that was started in 2021 by 3 former Morning Brew employees. And for those that don't know what Morning Brew is, it is a popular business media brand that started out as a newsletter, which actually gained popularity on college campuses, including our very own UT Austin, Hook 'em Horns, way back when.
Back when.
Oh, we are washed up.
Yeah. No, I think I've been subscribed to the Morning Brew newsletter for like 5+, maybe closer to 10 years at this point.
Yeah, probably 8. Yeah, I remember it was freshman year or so, 8 years or so.
And they really paved the way for how, a media company can evolve into this massive brand that has such a big play within this business media cross-section. Mm-hmm. Definitely laid out the blueprint. And so at Morning Brew, these guys saw the power of an engaged audience through a reliable, owned media source, but at the same time, they realized how hard it is to actually build. And so without further ado, they built Beehiv. And to quickly summarize how it works, first you launch a website, then you write and send a newsletter, grow your audience, monetize that audience, and then pretty much rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. It is a nice self-perpetuating flywheel, and Beehiv is built to help you get that flywheel going. They also recently launched an advertising network, which they claim generates over $1 million in revenue for its creators every single month collectively. And this is a pretty genius idea, I think, a win-win-win for all the players here. One, the advertisers get a direct connection to super engaged and specific audiences. 2, the newsletter writer gets paid easily and can use that money to grow their business. Again, that flywheel. And then 3, Beehiv. They presumably are taking a cut, but I think more importantly, this enhances the value of their company greatly as a key connector in the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so genius.
Love a good triple win situation. It's been a little while, but as do investors, right? We're going to get into some traction here. So Beehiv raised a $12.5 million Series A less than a year ago. At that time, they already had some great numbers, including 7,500 newsletters on the platform, 35 million unique readers, and 350 million monthly impressions. Impressive stuff. Fast forward to today, they now have over 20,000 newsletters run by both individuals and companies alike. So for instance, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a newsletter, which was news to us, but is worth looking into. Yeah. I'm curious what Arnie may have to say. But additionally, aside from an individual like him, some companies like Boston Globe Media and Brex are also running newsletters through Beehiv.
So yeah, a wide range of customers that they have, and we'll get into the pricing and what's available to people. But why newsletters in the first place?
I think there's been an increasing emphasis on owning your audience, no matter how big or small it is. If you have a direct, loyal audience that you can control, that's way more valuable than being at the mercy of, social media algorithms and Google search, SEO, things like that. And so what Beehiv keyed in here is that owning your audience is a much safer bet. And while email may not be the most sexy method, it has certainly stood the test of time and remains an effective channel for building true connection with your audience, and also a good channel for advertising.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they make it super easy for anyone from an individual, maybe like us. I think we have to take a look in the mirror and think, hey, maybe we should start one here with Beehiv. It is a free plan to get started for one person. They've got monthly plans for small teams, companies, and then large enterprises, so everything in between. So it is that subscription model, the advertising network, adding in another revenue stream as they continue to grow this business. The $34 million round is no joke here after $12.5 million less than a year ago. Some big investors on the cap table. These guys are doing it right, and it'll be cool to see them continue to make a bigger name for themselves.
Yeah, stay tuned for if there's a Venture Pill newsletter on the horizon. I think with a free plan, it's at least worth us demoing. Yeah, and we've certainly talked about it in the past as well. And if we do launch it, we expect our listeners, or not expect, but rather plead that our listeners go ahead.
No, we expect.
It's an expectation that our listeners go ahead and subscribe, help us out.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say that it is impressive that we got through that whole breakdown of Beehiv without making a single bee or buzz or any sort of pun.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, it kind of just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, but newsletters are all the buzz, I guess. Seems to be a good monetization strategy.
Yeah, and the business model is sticky.
Yeah. Let's cut it there, not get into a long rant. As always,
Sweet idea.
Sweet idea. As always, appreciate and love our listeners out there for listening in on this week's dose. And y'all take care now.
We'll see you next time.
You know where to find us, folks.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another dose of startups and venture capital. And as always, we appreciate our pilgrims spreading the word about the show. Share with your friends and help someone else make the pilgrimage. See you next time.
She told me that she only bumps my music when she's lonely. Thinks my vibe's a little low-key, okie dokie, that's alright, but